of April 8 and will depart on April 9. The official engagements on April 9 will include bilateral meeting between the President and the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the CARICOM USA meeting co-chaired by the Chairman of CARICOM, the Honorable Perry Christie of the Bahamas, and the President of the United States. A brief wreath-laying ceremony by the President in honor of veterans of World Wars I and II, and the President's town hall meeting with young Caribbean leaders. At the end of the bilateral meeting, both the President and the Prime Minister will make brief statements. This will be open to coverage by accredited media. At the start of the meeting of the CARICOM heads of government and the President of the United States, brief statements will be made by the President of the United States, the Chairman of CARICOM, and the Prime Minister of Jamaica. Live coverage of the following events will be provided: the arrival of the President at the Norman Manley International Airport, the arrival of the President at the Office of the Prime Minister for bilateral meetings and greetings, the official photo by the President and the Prime Minister on arrival for the bilateral meeting, a group photo before the States of CARICOM USA meeting, statements by the President and the Prime Minister at the end of the bilateral meeting, statements by the President of the United States, the Chairman of CARICOM, and the Prime Minister of Jamaica at the start of the CARICOM USA meeting, the wreath laying, and the departure of the President from the Norman Manley International Airport. The Jamaica Information Service is host broadcaster. The broadcast is being facilitated by the public-private partnership involving all major private and public television broadcast media in Jamaica: TVJ, CVM, GIS, the CPTC, and the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica. As can be expected, with the hosting of some 12 visiting CARICOM heads and the President of the United States, there will be significant traffic diversions at various points. Beginning late afternoon tomorrow, Wednesday, April 8, through Thursday, April 9, the traveling public will experience some road closures and diversion of traffic throughout sections of the corporate area as a result of the visit of the President of the United States of America and heads of state and government of the Caribbean community. It is expected that most affected areas and corridors will be closed for some time. However, it is possible that this planned duration may be extended in certain circumstances. And we're going to be very general because of security concerns with the areas that are going to be affected. We won't give you timelines on those areas. Camp Road and Arnold Road, Halfway Tree Road, Old Hope Road, Slipe Road, Caledonia Avenue, Caledonia Crescent and Caledonia Avenue, Arthur Wint and Central Avenue, Arthur Wint Drive and Edna Manley School, Old Hope Road and Eureka Crescent, Old Hope Road, North Avenue and Lady Musgrave Road, Oxford Road, Belmont Road and Haining Road, Ripon Road, and Knutsford Boulevard and Trinidad Terrace. We must let you know that Knutsford Boulevard will be closed to vehicular traffic from 5 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, and it will open again in the afternoon the following day. At this time, we will open to your questions, and I ask you to bear in mind that we cannot give you specific details because of the security concerns. We will try to give you another update if the information becomes available. So we open to the floor. And Lincoln, since I don't have my glasses, I'm going to ask you to identify.
Thanks, Minister. All right, and we know the rules. We're allowing you, as always, your initial question and a follow-up. Yes? Ron?
Ron Paul, Radio Jamaica.
The microphone, Ron, please.
Thank you. Ron Paul, Radio Jamaica. Minister, as it relates, lots of Jamaicans naturally will want to even get a glimpse of what is happening. What's the instructions to members of the public who will be living near to these areas where it is expected that the president and his entourage, as well as the ministers of governments, will be passing? Will they be able to stay outside of the fringes, or they will have to be away from
I'm going
restricted
to ask
areas?
Colonel Cummings to take that one. Colonel.
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. With the members of the public along the areas that have been outlined by the Information Minister may be on the sidewalks in the pedestrian areas and may view the motorcade as it goes past. Clearly, we cannot give you specifics about what time that will actually occur for security reasons, but certainly members of the public are certainly welcome to view from the along the verges of where pedestrians would normally walk, except in instances where we have restrictions in place with police barriers, police personnel or cars for added security reasons.
And if I may add, sorry, if I may add, we must also bear in mind, and Colonel can add to that, or the police if they so wish, that the motorcade travels at a very high speed, and we are going to ask members of the public who may want to come out to view that they are to stay back and ensure that they are safe. It is very, very important.
That's the very point I was about to make. We're just going to ask our citizens to barriers or to go in front of the barriers or restrictions. We want to keep them safe, and we want for all of us to be happy after the president has left.
In terms of restrictions,
One minute, you want to use the microphone? Yes, this one is okay.
yes, sorry. DC people, in terms of the sidewalks, can media set up a camera on a tripod or have a cameraman with a camera on his shoulder and film from the sidewalk?
My understanding is that there are designated areas where the media will be, and that the media will have to be accredited. Wherever the president is traveling, it will be a restricted area, so persons will not be allowed inside the space.
So you can't be on Knotsford Boulevard filming, you can't?
I doubt that. Knotsford Boulevard will be a sanitized area. Once we close it down for the night, no one will be allowed inside there until the president passes.
And the same goes for the other Camp Road, Caledonia, Tom Redcom, Arthur Wind, etc.
Once the road is closed, we will not allow persons inside the restricted areas.
Even as we speak about restrictions, Gary Spalding, the Gleaner, even as we speak about restrictions, how satisfied are you, members of the security forces, that all of the arrangements are in place and intact?
A fair level of satisfaction, and we're relying on the Jamaican people to abide by the guidelines that would have been developed. And we have no doubt that it will not fail us.
Now, I was going to add that this particular operation, in respect of the security forces preparations, we have to strike a very careful balance between respecting the rights of Jamaican citizens and respecting their privileges that we'd always accord to our own Jamaican citizens, balancing that with the need to protect the visitors. Because it is also important for us to remember that it is not just the President of the United States who will be visiting Jamaica over the period, but also the 14 other heads of state of our regional CARICOM partners. So all the measures that we have put in place are for the collective mutual security of our visitors as well as the protection of our own citizens here in Jamaica.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Minister Faulkner. Since the Prime Minister's announcement in Parliament weeks ago, confusion has emerged regarding the status of the visit of President Obama, be it a state visit, an official visit, a working visit. Can you clarify and say definitively what's the status of the President's visit?
When the Prime Minister made the announcement, the Prime Minister went off. What the Prime Minister was told We have referred to this as a visit by the President. The President will have bilateral meetings with the Prime Minister, and he will also engage in the CARICOM meeting. I think the important thing is that the President is coming to Jamaica, he's visiting Jamaica, and I think that it is an honor for us to host him in Jamaica.
So the Prime Minister got it wrong at the time?
The Prime Minister did not get it wrong.
She made a mistake?
The Prime Minister did not make a mistake, and I think we should move on from trivialities.
All right, the other
Next question.
The other question, now that we're just about 24 hours or so before President Obama arrives, can you say whether the opposition will be invited or take part in any of the meetings? Will the opposition be invited to meet with the President?
There are going to be events, or at least one event that I know of, that the opposition leader will participate in. I will not say what it is now, because I believe that the opposition leader has to be informed.
So he hasn't yet been officially invited?
I am not, no, please. I have said I know there is at least one event that he will participate in. I believe that's the important answer that you wish to know.
Well, no, I also want to know that 24 hours or less before the President arrives.
You would understand, though, that with a visit like this, it's a very fluid situation, and things change from time to time. We have to wait. It's not only all the events that are being coordinated are not only handled by us, but we have to have sign-off from the President's team. And I'm sure that you can appreciate that there are things that we cannot say here, and I do wish for you to respect that. Thank you.
Let me move on.
Kirkwright, TVJ. As it relates to Reith Lane and the question of a pardon for Marcus Garvey, is that being considered, and that will that be included in the bilateral talks?
Excuse me?
Pardon for Marcus Garvey.
I am not at liberty to give you the full information as to what the bilateral. I could just give you generalities, and those would include security matters, trade matters, among those. The Prime Minister indicated that she would bring up the issue. I will have to check with her to see if it is a matter, and I'm sure you will find out if it is in fact raised with the President.
One more thing, Minister. There's a view that we might be going a little overboard with the preparations. Do you share that view?
In terms of what?
The destroying of the stalls that he was circled, perhaps.
Well, I am sure that you would understand that when the President visits anywhere, and the security experts here could speak a little bit more to that, there is a bubble in which the President operates, and I am sure that you would understand that we would have to keep certain areas sterile. And I believe that there were discussions held with the particular vendors, and that I am told that the vendors will be allowed back there after the visit is over. I think it's done purely for security purposes.
Destroying the stalls seem a little bit excessive, though.
I was told, and I was not there, I can only go off what I was told. I was told that some of it was not the intention to destroy the stalls, but that some of the stalls were weak, and in the movement of the stalls, that's what I'm told. I was not there. I don't think there was any intention to destroy them.
As it relates to respecting people's rights, as you mentioned, sir, with the people by Heroes Circle, will they have to stay in their houses while the ceremony is going on?
Thanks for the question. No, we are not insisting for anybody to stay in their houses. All we're doing is creating a security zone in and around National Heroes Circle. So the actual park itself will be a sterile zone. Persons are free to stand on the peripheries, and of course police and soldiers will be in position to show persons what vantage points they're able to use to view it. But we would never want to insist on our Jamaicans having to stay inside their house and not having the opportunity to come out on the side and view the ceremony.
Which means we can probably set up a camera on the fringes there.
There is an accredited media system, and I believe JIS can give details as to the process for which the media will be setting their cameras up to get a good vantage point for the live broadcast.
And we also want the media to ensure, we want you to be safe as well. So we're going to ask you to work along with GIS to ensure that you're accredited and you know what areas you will be allowed in, because we want to ensure that you get to do your work, you have as much access as possible, but that you're safe too.
Television. On the whole matter of security, as you seek to strike a balance, sir, can you speak to us about as to whether individuals can search, frisk, that kind of thing, those persons on the periphery looking on? What can we really expect in terms of searches from the security forces? Well, the reason for creating the security zones is to prevent persons from getting within close proximity of the principles that we are aiming to protect. It includes, of course, let me remind us about the CARICOM heads. So by keeping them at a certain distance, that will prevent us from having to do any burdensome searching and other protective measures for them. Clearly, those persons who have to come in close proximity by virtue of them being invited to certain events, we have would have informed them of what the screening procedures are to get them in close, and that will be done in a respectful manner so that persons do not feel or are not are not left disrespected in respect of what we must do to protect our visitors.
How are you going to guarantee, though, without searching that particular individual? And forgive me, I mean, after all, this is Jamaica, we're just trying to be frank. Can persons expect to be searched?
Well, persons
by the security forces in approaching or being in close proximity.
We can't rule out persons being searched, and you know that. There are circumstances. There are circumstances in which, in any normal day, on any given street, an individual can be searched by the police. So it's a kind of trick question.
Sure. On the matter of traffic, though, what of the persons operating public passenger vehicles, persons going off route? Can you speak to that quickly as I pass the microphone?
And public transport.
Traffic flow will be impacted to a large extent. However, in order to reduce the inconveniences that the motoring public will encounter, we have ensured that sufficient police are placed at all the major areas of diversion to provide that crucial advice and guide to the motoring public.
So we won't see persons being charged for whatever reason for going off for those traveling and carrying themselves.
The Road Traffic Act will not be put on hold because of the visit, sir. So if a person should commit any breach, they will be dealt with. The whole aspect of diversion of traffic speaks clearly to the fact that the police will be sending you on another route in order for you to reach to your point. So it will be treated from that perspective.
Thanks to speak.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Minister Faulkner. This is Julian from Xinhua News Agency. As we know, President Obama and the CARICOM leaders usually met during the Summit of Americas. For example, in 2009 in Trinidad and 2012 in Colombia. Why do the two sides choose to meet each other ahead of the summit? I mean, at this time. Does it have something to do with a heated dispute between the United States and Venezuela during the past months?
Well, I cannot tell you what the reason is why a request was made for the president to meet with CARICOM leaders in Kingston. So I think that's a question that you would have to take up with the White House. The meeting was requested in Kingston, and we are happy to have the president in Kingston.
Okay, and what do you think will Jamaica and Caribbean expect from the President Obama's visit here?
Well, we expect that we will have frank conversations as we normally do, and we expect that at the end of the visit, and at the end of those meetings that we would have had agreements on a number of issues.
And how about the expect for the Summit of Americas?
Well, the same would apply, that we would expect that we would have frank discussions and that we would have agreement on issues.
Thanks. I'm recognizing Ron, and then I come back to Wilton.
The traffic head and DCP Golding possibly could assist with this. Access to Oxford Road from Harvey Road is restricted. What's the word to National Housing Trust workers who may not be, who may not be at work at the point in time when the road is to be closed and they are reported for work? How do you treat?
Let me take that one. We have been in contact with the leadership of the Housing Trust, and we have worked out an arrangement, not just for the Housing Trust, but for the Emancipation Park as well. So Emancipation Park will be closed between 12 midday tomorrow and 12 midday on Thursday. And we have worked out an arrangement with the Housing Trust concerning workers, and I'm sure you'll hear an announcement because they are mortgagers and other stakeholders.
Can I just follow up on that, DCP Golding? What about the businesses in New Kingston, in Knotsford Boulevard? Because if you're going to be closing it from tomorrow afternoon, essentially people won't be able to drive to work along the entire strip. So banks, offices will pretty much be closed. Is that it?
Well, I guess that is part.
After business hours.
That's a part of the reason why you're here, so they can the sensitization process can continue, and beyond this meeting, there will be contact of the varying entities to communicate the intended closure of the road.
So also this has not been communicated to CIBC, JPS, NCB. None of these businesses have been told that you have to pretty much close your business on Wednesday into Thursday.
We will allow foot traffic, right? Colonel Cummins, foot traffic will be allowed along Knotsford Boulevard, but not vehicular traffic.
Understand, but most people drive to offices, Minister, and they access to, you know, where they park and
I
all
am
that.
sure that you can understand, Milton, that...
I understand the need for the closure. I'm just saying in terms of communicating this to
I'm
businesses.
saying that I'm sure that you can understand that because of the security concerns, we would not be allowed to give detailed information with too much of an advance notice. What we will be doing, now that we have had the information, what we will be doing, we'll be contacting the business owners on Knotsford Boulevard, in addition to all the media, the mass media announcements that we will make, and they can make a determination as to how they will treat with it.
All right, and to follow up on an earlier question, to be clear, I believe the Prime Minister did say in Parliament that it was a state visit, and that connotes a certain set of events, meeting with opposition leader, Governor General, etc. Is it that it changed subsequent to that, or she was
Milton, what the Prime Minister said in Parliament is the information she had at that time.
Oh, so some miscommunication went on.
So what we are giving you now is the detailed, the confirmed status of the visit.
Fine, I understand that things may change.
Yes.
It's just I just wanted to know, obviously there had been some miscommunication.
No, I'm telling you, what she
earlier
gave was what the information she had then. And when the Prime Minister gave that information, there would have been sign-off between both parties.
Thanks, Mr. We're going to take two.
I do remember
questions. Yes, I did recognize you.
Alfia.
There's a lady that...
Carol wants.
Deputy Commissioner.
Ron, you did ask your question.
Yeah, there were
yes,
two.
but can we allow those who haven't had an opportunity?
No, this is a
Rohan, please.
Okay.
This is a real, genuine security concern. DCP Golding, we have received word that a particular individual has been restricted from traveling any time during which the President of the United States is here. Can you confirm if this is in fact so?
It is difficult to answer a question when I don't know who the individual is you're
No,
talking.
I have the name, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to call the name. That's why I said an individual.
But so far as I know, I don't know of anybody being restricted from traveling whilst the President is here.
Yep. Alfia?
Alfia Saunders from the Jamaica Observer. This question is for the persons in charge of security. There are a number of homeless and mentally ill persons in the New Kingston area. What are the plans to relocate these persons? You can do that. We'll deal with that. We can deal with that.
The Ministry of Health has been involved in the discussions. I know there's a mental health team that the Ministry of Health has, and I'm sure that they will address those issues.
That's it? That's it. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
That was it? Yep. All right. That's all right. That's all right.
I thought we had 2 questions.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
All right. Carol, you're good?
I'll save my question for afterwards so everybody don't get distracted.
Okay.
Karen, you want to go with the question? All right, thanks.
All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. We did say earlier that the situation is fluid. If things change, we will try to have another briefing tomorrow to give you more details. But we're working with the team from the White House, and they're working with our security and other teams here. And so as new information becomes available, we'll let you have it. We want to thank you for coming, and again, we apologize for the wait.
Current affairs.